Pull! Pull!
Magic is the art of manipulation. It blows our mind, deceives our senses, and makes us question the reality we live in.
Oh my God.
Some acts are mind-blowing illusions, but others aren't tricks at all. So how are they done? Let's find out. Welcome to Xplained. First up is the needle through the arm. David Blaine has done some crazy things over the years, and one of them is pushing a needle through his arm.
Sorry, I don't understand. How is that not real?
In this video, you can see Ricky Gervais's facial expression going from amused to absolutely horrified.
Oh, no, what the f***? Seriously?
The needle pierces through David's skin, goes through his arm, and comes out of the other side.
You're a maniac.
See how it looks like.
That's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. What are you doing?
Gervais is genuinely shocked after pulling the needle out himself.
I don't understand.
Pull.
What have you done? Are you a maniac? This is real. Sorry, this is real. That's real. That's not a trick. Oh, for f***'s sake.
So how did David Blaine pull this off? Well, he really is pushing the needle through his arm. The secret is based on a medical procedure that involves surgically creating a fistula. It's basically a tiny open path surrounded by dead tissue that goes through the body. The trick dates back to this man, Mirin Daejo, also known as the human pincushion. According to reports, Eastern mystics show Daejo how they learned to pass thin swords through their body without getting hurt or bleeding. Daejo allowed them to hypnotize him and do the same while avoiding vital organs. Once the injury healed, the procedure was repeated multiple times in the same exact spot. And over time, it created a straight open path of insensitive scar tissue that wouldn't bleed or cause much pain to him. How insane is that? We suspect David Blaine has had a similar procedure done by doctors. In his case, the surgical fistula path goes through his arm and it allows him to pass the needle through without any serious damage or spilling of blood. In fact, he's probably done a similar procedure on his hand too, considering he can pass an ice pick through it.
No, I don't think you clap. I don't think we clap, because then he'll clap by accident.
That is through your hand.
Next, the blindfold knife and card trick. This trick by Andrew Lee on Britain's Got Talent caught our attention. He gets Deck to pick a random card.
Deck, I'm gonna go through the pack like this. You say stop wherever you like. Stop right here. Now take a good look at your card.
Yeah.
Remember it.
Got it.
Good.
Tears the edge off.
Go ahead, pull the corner off and keep that as your receipt.
Places a target board around his neck, gets Andrew to throw the pack in the air, and then locates the torn card with a deadly knife throw. The audience and judges are in shock, but how did Andrew pull this off? Now this is dangerous, so do not try this at home. Let's break this down into 3 parts. Part 1. The card Deck chose was actually forced on him. If you look closer, the 2 of hearts is already at the bottom of the pack at the start of the act. Andrew only pretends to cut the deck. He uses a pinky break technique and marks where the card is at with his little finger. He slowly drops the cards, but when Deck says stop, he lets go of all the cards under the one he's marked and shows him the one he wants him to see. Next, look closely and you'll see the forced card has a slight fold mark. Andrew tears it exactly along that crease line and only gives the last bit to Deck to rip off. Part 2 is the knife throwing. If you look closely, the knife is attached to an elastic cord that goes into his sleeve. So when he throws the knife, the cord retracts it inwards, but the throw is so fast you barely see it happening. Part 3 is the card and the knife on the target board. The board actually contains a hidden knife with another 2 of hearts that's torn in the exact same way. Andrew's knife throw triggers the hidden knife to pop out of the board with the second card. Have a look at the same performance Andrew did on Asia's Got Talent. If you play it in slow motion, you'll see the knife pop out. Next, the 360-degree arm twist. We've all seen David Blaine do this. He stops a random guy on the street, asks him to try and rotate his arm 360 degrees. The man obviously can't do it, and David blows the guy's mind by doing it himself with his help.
Keep going. Keep going. Oh, no, keep going. Keep going.
Is David really rotating his arm 360 degrees and breaking it? The answer is yes and no. But basically, it's an optical illusion. First, he strategically distracts the guy and shows him how he wants his hand placed on the floor. But then David places his own arm differently. He actually twists his arm, keeps his hand palm up, and puts it down. Also, his arm is hidden by the jacket and everyone is too distracted by the conversation to notice anything unusual. Then David pretends to twist it the opposite way. He even gets the guy to help him with the last 180 degrees to make it more believable. Pretty cool, right? Next is the Barfing Frogs act. This one is gross as hell, but probably one of the best we've seen. First, David Blaine stitches his lips together, and this is probably the result of another surgical fistula. But then, he tears a card and manages to regurgitate the missing piece of it from inside his mouth.
Oh my god, if that comes out of where I think it is.
Okay.
And if that wasn't enough, he calmly barfs up a frog out of nowhere.
Is my mouth empty?
No!
So how did he do it? Again, do not try this at home. It isn't a trick. David is actually throwing up frogs using controlled regurgitation. And he's one of the few magicians in the world who can do it. Regurgitation tricks became popular after a performer named Haji Ali drank kerosene and water to start and put out a fire. Later on, people like Stephen Wright took it to the next level by regurgitating objects like goldfish, coins, and even pool balls. It involves training the muscles in your throat and stomach to control the descent and ascent of an object. First, they overcome their gag reflex. You can see David Blaine practicing on small potatoes here. Then, they learn to control the opening of the upper esophageal sphincter in their throat, which basically keeps food down and out of the windpipe. They also learn to contract muscles in their abdomen and push things upward in a controlled manner. And with a drink of water and enough practice, they can control where the object is and bring it up at will. Crazy, right? Last one up, levitation. Performers have been doing levitation tricks for years, and the most common one is where the magician appears to float a few inches off the ground. But what about when they hover above the Shard in London? The video shows Dynamo slowly levitating higher and higher between the Shard. Everyone who witnesses it on the streets of London are shocked. But how did he do it? There's one theory out there, but we're only half convinced. It suggests that the set was prepared with pre-installed cables. These were attached to Dynamo and they slowly raised him up, and his team removed the cable while editing. In fact, there are images that show these cables attached to him, but Dynamo swears the pictures were taken during a rehearsal, and there's probably some truth there. But here's the part we can't explain. The cables under full tension would probably keep Dynamo floating in line with the tip of the Shard. But how did they help him levitate above the tip? There are so many amazing performers out there who are constantly creating new illusions and pushing the limits of their own bodies for this amazing form of art. Which are your favorite tricks and performers? Can you do cool magic tricks too? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to Xplained.